Let us all shed a tear for Amy of Arabia, Amy of Alberta. One day she's in Wild Rose country, living a normal life. The next thing you know, she marries a Muslim man, converts to Islam, and then flies off to that tourism utopia known as Syria. Yeah, I know. Who wouldn't want to go to see the sights of Syria these days? What could possibly go wrong? Well, things started to go very wrong when Islamist husband number one became part of a terrorist group hoping to form a caliphate. Yeah, again with the caliphate, but he got blowed up real good. Not to worry, despite the stigma of being sloppy Sharia seconds, Amy met a Bosnian Muslim man who also decided to marry her. But can you believe it? He also got blowed up real good. Yeah, apparently death is an occupational hazard when it comes to the time-honored craft known as terrorism. Who knew? According to a CTV report, Amy now lives at a refugee camp in eastern Syria, which I'm sure is almost as groovy as snagging the presidential suite at the Toronto Radisson East these days. And folks, you'll never believe this, but Amy seems to be suffering from buyer's remorse. Apparently Canada, despite being absolutely infested with infidels, well, Canada isn't such a bad place after all. Yes, apparently for little Amy, there's no place like home, and she wants to come back to our little dominion, even though snagging a pair of ruby slippers are really hard to come by in a Syrian refugee camp these days. Nevertheless, Amy says, quote, "I think I should be allowed to go home. I don't believe I did anything wrong. I didn't kill nobody," end quote. Ooh, ouch. That last sentence was a double negative, which is to say if she didn't kill nobody, that means she did kill somebody. Or maybe she's just ignorant. Plenty of grist for that mill, after all, given her choice of disposable hubbies. Or maybe she's just an ignorant murderer. But still, what are we going to do with adorable Amy, especially with the clock ticking? Oh no, I'm not talking about the timer affixed to an improvised explosive device. I speak of Amy's biological clock. You see, before the big Bosnian Muslim took that express elevator to rendezvous with those 72 voluptuous black-eyed virgins, he impregnated Amy. Yes, Amy is now carrying her own little homegrown Muhammad. I can't imagine being pregnant in a Syrian refugee camp these days is akin to living the dream in Disneyland. And so it is that Amy is really clamoring to come home now. She has allies over here too helping her out, such as the nonprofit group Families Against Violent Extremism. They are lobbying for the return of Amy and at least 27 other Canadians who traveled to Syria who are also desperate to get out of that particular timeshare contract. Meanwhile, in Ottawa, what does Public Safety Minister Ralph Goodale have to say about repatriating foreign fighters and their families? Well, brace yourself, folks. He says it's not a priority. Is the needle on your bullshit detector veering deep into the red zone right now? Because I'm thinking that what old Ralph really meant to say is that repatriation is not a priority in an election year. But if the Liberals win again come October, how soon would repatriation become a priority once more, along with a personal visit to the PM's office and maybe even an 8-figure check to make up for hurt feelings? I seem to recall somebody or other in Ottawa once saying something along the lines of, "A Canadian is a Canadian is a Canadian, and if y'all have a problem with that, then you're obviously an Islamophobe." Still, like I say, that clock is ticking. Election day is some 8 months away, and gracious, by then Amy will have given birth. And that's quite problematic, as Amy wants the kid to grow up in a nice, stable environment, like Canada. You see, that's the thing about raising a family when you're part of ISIS. Sure, that little bundle of joy is so fantastic to behold when first born, but just ask any Islamist matriarch, when it comes to little Jihadi Jr., how does that saying go again? Oh yeah, they sure seem to blow up so fast these days, don't they? For the Rebel.media, I'm David the Menzoid Menzies. Hey folks, you can listen to all Rebel shows as a podcast. Please go to therebel.media listen.